With Kids in the Kitchen. We're going to be making homemade pizza crust for calzones today. I'm starting out with 1 tablespoon of honey. You can start out with 1 tablespoon of sugar if you like as well. I think for class we do sugar, for home I did honey. I'm going to sprinkle over the top quick rise yeast that rises quicker. It needs a temperature of 110 to 115, and right now we're right about there. Going to give that just a few seconds to cool down because you don't want to kill the yeast. You have to have it warm enough to activate it, but cool enough that it doesn't kill it as well because it's a live bacteria. All right, we're going to stir that in. So to feed the yeast, you need the yeast, warm liquids, whether it's milk or water, and you need sugar. Sugar also feeds it. And you should start to smell that. We're going to let that sit about 2 minutes until the foam doubles in size. So you notice that the foam is doubling in size. It's happening pretty quickly. It smells doughy too, doesn't it? Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and stir in some salt and oil. I put 1 teaspoon of salt with 2 tablespoons of oil. Notice that I'm going to go ahead and get all of the salt and oil out of there. I don't want to be chintzy and forget to do that. And give that a stir. Next, I'm going to add 2 types of flour. And I believe in the summer we're just going to do white all-purpose flour, but for school, when we do our unit on getting more whole wheat, we're going to do 1.5 cups of whole wheat flour and 2 cups of white flour. Still gives us that yummy taste that we're used to, but it's incorporating 50% of our whole grains. So we're going to slowly start adding this in and stirring as I go. Otherwise it'd be a large clump. And it goes from a pretty easy stir to a little more difficult. And at some point I'm going to have to switch over and do it by hand. Okay, now let's start adding in our all-purpose white flour, which obviously is wheat too. However, it's been stripped of some of the vital nutrients, so that's why in class we want to do 50% whole wheat. It gets our taste buds accustomed to that and gives us a little bit of what we're normally expecting, isn't over the top. Okay, got to keep adding in this flour. Might become difficult here, and I'm going to have to use my hands. Now, with whole wheat flour, I may end up having to add a little bit more water to this, liquid to this, because it is denser, since it has all the nutrients. All right, we're going to come back to this in just a few minutes. Okay, we added 1 more tablespoon of water because of the whole wheat. We may end up adding 2 more tablespoons, but 1 was plenty for me. It depends on the humidity and temperature, etc. We're going to sprinkle a little bit of flour onto our surface. And this is what we're going to do is we're going to knead, which is a push, pull, turn, push, pull, turn. And we keep doing this actively. We cannot, I always say you got to use your grandma muscles, because grandmas are the ones that used to make bread from scratch. Most of us don't make bread from scratch, or if we do, use a bread maker. We're going to do this for 8 minutes, and we'll come back and show you what it's going to look like. I will have to keep adding a little bit of flour if it starts to stick. Not too much because you don't want it to get dried out, but this is definitely, you're getting an arm's workout with this. All right, we'll see you in a few minutes. Okay, we're back. We kneaded our dough. It is nice and pliable and soft. My hands are tired. It's been 8 minutes. I sprayed my clean bowl, and I'm going to smear my dough around in the bowl. Maybe even give it a little bit of a spray. Then I'm going to cover it with saran wrap and place it in a warm spot to rise for 30 minutes to an hour, depending. We'll see you back after it's risen.